Good day, everyone. Welcome to episode number 2 of the Vatcher Knits podcast. I am your host, Ali Vatcher Evans, and I am coming to you with what appears to be a haul, a update, this is what I've been doing for the last month. It blows my mind that I have been back here for 4 weeks to date. We are currently sitting in the little tiny corner of my dining room in Harrington, and behind me are a bunch of treasures and not very knitted things. This is my dad's house, and as much as I would like to decorate and put yarn everywhere, Mr. Wilson Evans tends to be the designing boss of this. So I think this is kind of where I've settled. I had beautiful, beautiful natural light this morning, and unfortunately within the last hour, the fog has rolled in, and it is not quite 0-0, but it's pretty close, which is a just daily occurrence that happens in the Harrington Harbor. So today I'm going to talk to you a lot about what's been on my needles, what I'm hoping to put on the needles in the most recent future, a few mail days, and let me see, some September favorites. So let's go. I am on my 4th cup of coffee, I think. And my super cute little long distance mugs that I got for Marvin and I. I'll put up a photo here if I figure out how to do it. We have Marvin's my boyfriend, and he lives in Montreal. And I've been dating for the last 5 years now, and over the last 4 years, we've been doing it for the most part of the year by distance. And this is the first time, his job, he travels a lot with it, and this is the first time in all those 4 years that I'm the one who's traveling for work. And this was a little kind of parting gift. There's the girl with her microphone, and then as it passes, she's sending the guy some love, and there's my lipstick. So let's dig right into it. What have I been up to? This is going to be the first half of this podcast, I may put some stuff in at the end, or I may just make that a podcast sort of vlog of its own. I have been traveling a lot. I've been going back and forth between Harrington and Chevery almost on a bi-daily basis. I've been visiting my mom up there. We have been absolutely blessed with the weather. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fall in Harrington, besides the last 2 days of like black thick fog that we've had. But that just means knitting time, because who wants to be outside playing in the fog? I don't. My dad's also building a cabin, which I'll probably put some footage in here. And we've been up there and doing some cedar shingling and doing the roof and some decor, and it's really exciting. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm having a great time being able to contribute to that. In order to get the best view of what's going on behind me, I am sitting at the end of my table, and all of the stuff is way up there. So let's get into some knitting, right? On my needles, I have a few projects right now that are in the works. I want to jump right in and tell you what I've taken off of my needles, but that's going to be a little bit later. So I am knitting the Cirrus pullover, and this is a pattern by Shibui. This was a store sample that was in the Espace Tricot store in Montreal, and it was probably one of my favorite things that they had knit up, and I knew that I had to make it for myself. So I am knitting it up. I started this summer when I was in Kenora, Ontario. Let me just see. This is how far I've gotten. So it's knit across this way. So there's one arm of it. This is the neck hole, and then I'm finishing the sleeve on the other side. I guess you could say I'm in Sleeve City, but who knows? I am knitting it with Rowan Kid Silk Haze in their cream colorway, and another yarn that, believe it or not, I picked up at a thrift store. I got about 6,000 yards of a very lightweight lace yarn for $4. It's an Italian merino, and I wish I could remember the name, but I left the tag in Montreal. But I will find it because I have images of it. somewhere, but this is the color. It's kind of blowing out there. This is the color that I have, and then I'm pairing it with the Rowan Kid Silk Haze. Let's do this. This fabric is delicious. It's so soft. There's a halo. You can kind of see it there. I'm not sure if there's a special technique to knitting with mohair because my halo seems to be more on the back than what it is on the front. But I'm going with it. I would say, probably a bit over halfway done. And I'm very excited to get this off because it is going to be the perfect cozy knit for the fall chilly weather that we're having up here. It's on my Likke needles. I'm so happy that I waited to start this podcast until all of the other podcasters have spoken about how to say it. I no longer call them Likke needles. But it means happiness in Dutch. And I definitely see how that would make sense because they are very happy to knit with. I am really enjoying this. I have to say my tension has stayed the same throughout pretty much the whole project, even though I have been knitting this off and on for about the last 4 to 5 months. And with my Find Your Fade that I'll show you a little bit later, I did notice quite a bit that my tension had progressed from very tight to quite loose over the 8 months it took me to knit that thing. Very different, I guess, stages, different periods, different seasons. And I don't mind it. It's maybe not my favorite thing, but I am dealing with it. I have yet to block that one as well. Enough about Find Your Fade. We'll do that later. One of the very fun things about this very discounted yarn that I had picked up from said thrift store is that while it seemed like a perfect deal with the 6,000 yards at $4, when I started scanning it up, when I started caking it up from the skein format that I had purchased it in, I realized that somebody had taken a pair of scissors or maybe accidentally snipped the skein while, I don't know, before it got to the thrift store aspect where I bought it. That made balling it an absolute nightmare. It took me about 45 minutes per 3,500 yard skein, because it came in two, to bundle this up. The skeins were quite small, maybe about a meter or a yard in diameter, but they were very thick, probably about a foot or so thick. And what had happened is that I did the first one unknowingly and just kind of whipped it all together, and then all of a sudden my Swift stopped moving and I was still cranking around, and I was like, okay. So I don't know if you can see, it is super thin weight. It's a very, very, very light lace weight. And I had to go find an end. But the problem was there were 6 or 8 or 12 ends sticking out. Huge mistake for the first one. The second skein, which is the one that I'm knitting up right now, I was a little bit smarter with, and I'll show you the back. I don't know if they're going to come through. Let's try on this one. You can see a few ends. What I did, and it ended up being an absolute blessing. It may have only happened once or twice here. I colored the ends that I could see with permanent marker. So I have a whole bunch of them here. And then when I was skein it up and the yarn broke, or I found a snip, or the strand that I was knitting had ended, I just went through and I found another end that was colored in black, and I would tie them off and so what. Thankfully, the girls at Espestrico were so helpful because this was quite the feat of getting everything organized. And it took me, like I said, way too long to cake this up. I have no idea if my strands are going both in the S direction or both in the Z direction when I tied them off, but I'm hoping that it's not going to make too much of a difference when it comes to blocking this. I think I should be okay. So I've been getting a lot of it done. My knitting speed has increased drastically over the summer because I have been doing a lot of knitting. And I am hoping that by the next time maybe we podcast, I'll be done the rest of the sleeve and I'll be picking up the stitches for the neckline, which is happening right there. I think it's my color. Yeah, we'll have a finished sweater. How exciting is that? Love it. The next thing that I have are a pair of socks, and it's living in my gorgeous little sock sack project bag that was made to me by Mona. I brought this to the beach with me yesterday when my dad was working on the beach hut, and I thought it was the perfect bag. On the inside there are birds, which I thought they were ducks, and I was like, duck hunting, perfect. But then Mona kindly reminded me that they are sandpipers, and that it fits with the beach theme. What pattern am I making these socks off of? Not really anyone. This half, I started off knitting a Smooth Operator sock by Susan B. Anderson. And then I had a 6-hour plane ride. No pattern. So I just finished, I would knit, and turn it into a afterthought everything sock, even though I had never seen the pattern before in my life. So this is a wing it sock, if I want to call it that. I decided to, it's knit out of, I don't like that. Bummer. It's knit out of Les Biscuits yarn, which is a Quebec dyer. And this is my first time dyeing with their yarn. It is so unbelievably soft and silky, a joy to knit. It does have quite a bit of stretch to it. I believe it is, I'll post all the details down there later, but I believe it is a Super Rush Merino with some nylon in it, but it's unlike any sock yarn I've ever knit before. The downside that I do not really like it, and I will hold this up once again, is the coloring. So up here, which was the yarn that really caught my attention, I have to do this because of the lighting. It's gorgeous, these like micro speckles and rainbow and black stripes. But then as you move on, they get paler and paler and paler until when we get to the end, and it's basically just black and white striped yarn. So these will be for me. I made them extra long and extra slouchy. They are going to be big on my foot, but I want them just for cozy reading socks in front of the wood stove here. Another thing, I need some help because yesterday while I was at the beach, I decided to bind off, but I wanted to film this before I cut where my 2 needles are. And do you see my bind off? Is that normal? I can't really tell. I like it because it's super elastic and it's not going to be tight on my gigantic calves. But it looks like a potato chip. And then I have this one, which is my cast on edge. That's what I wanted to look at. So do you know, and please tell me because I need some help. Does anybody know how to make a stretchy bind off that doesn't look like a potato chip? Help. Let me just see. Yeah, that kind of get tucked in. So I divided my sock, which is I think how an afterthought everything sock is done, is that I knit all of my yarn. I still have a little bit left because actually I have quite a bit left. I may do my heel in this so that it would have the nice spiral, because I feel like with this type of through the rabbit hole, I have a feeling it's going to look very through the rabbit hole when I'm finished. So I kept this for my heels. I am going to do black toes just because I like when the cuffs and toes are the same color. I put 2 needles, as you can see there, maybe. It's not coming up very well. I divided my sock in half. I put 2 needles, and I'm about to snip in the middle. I am going to do that on camera. So I'm going to snip in the middle and then take out, and then I'll knit my 2 toes from this point. And then once I determine where my heel is going to be, I'm thinking kind of somewhere around there, I will then cut in a heel and put those. So I am very excited about these. And I'm hoping that, again, by the next, I'm really planning on doing a lot of knitting. I'm hoping by the next time we chat, these will be done. So that's another project. I have my notes here of what I'm supposed to be talking about. The last thing that I have is I am knitting a pair of socks for the Grocery Girl October Sock Talk Cal Knit Along, whatever we are calling that right now. And they had mentioned in their most recent podcast that they want to do a breast cancer theme. So I am knitting a pair of pink cabled socks for my girlfriend Emma, who lives in Vancouver, and they are speeding along. I cannot tell you how fast and how much I am loving this sock pattern. I've always knit a pretty much vanilla sock up until right now, but this is the first full pattern sock. I mean, even the heel flap is patterned. I have to stop saying If you ever want to turn this into something more wild than knitting, take a drink every time I say and let's see if you make it through the rest of this podcast. I didn't just condone drinking during the day, but this is coffee. I did it again. Okay, so those socks are living at my mom's house in Chevry, and it's the first sock that I've ever done where it's a full pattern. It's going by so fast. I cannot wait to knit that in as many different colors because they're really turning out to be gorgeous. Unfortunately, I don't have them here. If I do make it to Chevry by the time I post that, I'll insert a photo. Next up, a little segment I think I'm going to call Mail Day, just because right now it is foggy, so chances are we will not get mail today. Our mail comes to a post office, which is brought to the post office by four-wheeler and a trailer. It's brought to the island by helicopter, and it is flown in on little tiny planes. So yeah, weather affects if we get mail or not, and normally if we get a good mail day, it's very exciting. I am trying to hold back on how much I am shopping, though since I've been home, there has been so many projects that I really want to make now that I'm here, because I have a little bit more time on my hands, and I am indulging in some sock clubs, in some yarn that I've been eyeing up for a while. I even sent yarn home in anticipation that I would be here while I was living in the city, because I need sweaters this fall, and I'm very excited to show you what I've been up to. So the first thing that I picked up, of course, was an order from Miss Fast Tricot. I've had 2 orders since I've been home. And one of the things that I picked up was a bunch, let me put the tag around, of the Juliette Lezu DK yarn. A bunch. So I got 2 of this gorgeous, sorry for the crinkling that may happen, of this gorgeous Lezu DK. This is called the Joy of Painting. It is pulling up a little bit more purple, though here, let me see if I can do that. I'll figure it out. There are these gorgeous, it's a blue and purple, I would say, a white variegated with some blues and purples, with hints of these vibrant orange and red and speckles, and it's gorgeous. So I had a plan for this. I bought one for a project, and then in order to get free shipping, I was missing 20 bucks, 30 bucks. So I threw in another one. And now that I see them, I don't know if I want to put them into that project and instead do something just with this to really give the yarn justice, because it is stunning. The other colors that I picked up, again, trying to find the right palette for what I wanted to make, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So this is Echo. This is one of her older colorways. It is pulling up a little bit purple, though it is a very soft gray yarn. A second Joy of Painting. This is her London colorway, which, like, I want life to be like this. Uh-oh, what did I just do? There was like a little fuzzy attached to it, but it was actually a part of the yarn. Shoot. So yeah, London, gorgeous. And I love how London goes with Joy of Painting. Biscotti, which is very, very biscotti. I'm not sure why I expected it to be so beige with a name called Biscotti. But this does not work with the color palette that I am working. Maybe, I'm unsure. Maybe it does. And then I have two of the Broom colorways, which is this stunning purple. I'm not a huge purple fan, but I do say I really, really enjoy this. And I'm kind of, I'm kind of playing with the Broom London Joy of Painting colors together. And then we'll see how that works. Actually, now that I'm saying this, I am all confused. So yes, I am hoping to make out of this. We'll talk about that a little bit later, I think, and we'll just stick to the mail time. So this is a gorgeous bundle of Julie Asselin yarn. I just think it's the most beautiful thing ever, ever, ever. Julie Asselin is an amazing, amazing dyer from Quebec. I love supporting local dyers. I think local in terms of Canada, but Canada is so broad. So when I can support someone who is local to Quebec, local to Montreal, I love to do that. I did a yard dyeing class with Julie and her husband at Asbastico last winter. It was an amazing experience, and it completely just sparked in me a joy and a way to kind of expand on the fibers practice that I have been so stupidly addicted with for the last 5 years. Next thing we have coming up, or next thing that was kind of a mail day, were these two books. So both books are by Karen Lee Castleman, and they are, let me just see, Craft of the Dyer and Lichen Dyes. So these are two things that are really interesting to me since I've been back, because I live on a island in the middle of the Gulf of the St. Lawrence. There is lichen everywhere, and it's just kind of a fact of the earth. And Karen Lee Castleman is, I would say, probably someone who has done some of the most extensive research on this type of dye from the earth. Sustainable, all natural, and I am really excited to completely dive into these and see what dyes I can pick up while I'm here. Hopefully before the snow hits on the ground, and that I can maybe, get a pot started. So, love these books. Cannot wait to read them. And they're like, stock the craft library. So I picked those up from Chapters. Super inexpensive. If you're interested in learning more about dyeings and learning more about Arctic dyes, I would definitely suggest both of those. Another Asbastico order was, I'm going to have to pull everything back. Yarn, 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 yarn. You know what's coming, don't you? This is a project. I'm floating in yarn. This is one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever experienced in my entire life. And if we're just looking at my decor right now, how amazing does this palette match with this? So I am casting on this. It's the Orafi sweater. It's made out of Leto Lopi yarn, and it's me. Besides the black hair, it's me. This is gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. I have never done color work before, though if Lisa and Melissa can do it, I am hoping, and I have high aspirations that I can as well. I am a far novice knitter compared to the two of those ladies. But if they have the courage to take on a project like this, I hope that I can too. I'm in love with the turtleneck this year. I'm so happy that it came back. And this turtleneck color work, black and white, hello. It's just screaming my name. So that came in this kit right here. So it has all of the yarn. They have a little post-it with Allie. It has all the yarn to make all of the sizes, which is ingenious on their part when they're putting together a sweater kit. And I'm really happy and kind of excited to hopefully have yarn left over so that I can knit probably a pair of like little matching color work mittens. A friend of mine was traveling through Iceland a few months ago, and she picked me up all of the other Letlopi colorways in their natural colorway. So I have some grays, a flat black, not the heathered, some different shades of white. So I'm hoping if I can pull off a colorwork sweater, I'm hoping I can pull off some matching colorwork mittens. I'll put the podcast link below as well, but in Lisa's and Melissa's most recent podcast, they spoke about some modifications that they did to the sweater, which I'm probably going to go back and rewatch because I think I'm going to take the time to knit a full colorwork sweater, I want it to fit me perfectly. And I know they had spoken about some modifications they did to the cuffs and to the body to make it more fitted. And I don't know when I'm going to cast this on. It's not in my immediate knitting plans, but I'm hoping it's going to be within maybe October. Maybe it'll be a Halloween cast on. Okay, next project. I'm like taking over the dining room table. My dad. Another Espace purchase was the Cascade Eco Wool. This is in the vanilla colorway, so it has a very, very almost not noticeable heather. It might be flat. And I love this. This is so economical. It is $27 a ball. That's Canadian prices, by the way. I live in Quebec. $27 a ball, and you get 478 yards. So, 2 of these is a sweater. 2 of these is a sweater. It's perfect. As you can tell, I'm kind of on a same color scheme right now, but this we will talk about again in the upcoming projects chat. Some other things that I picked up from Espace is this little adorable Rin textile progress keeper. I was given a bunch of her stitch markers and pins for my birthday this year. I love, love, love her as an artist. She just makes the most cute little things, so I'm just very excited to pick that up. And I was going to put it on my Sarah sweater, but I'm thinking I may save it for another project. We'll see. Another thing, and if you knew me, you know this is coming, because I am a very, very, very proud Canadian through and through. Fleece artist who is out of Nova Scotia dyed up the most gorgeous, gorgeous yarns in celebration of Canada's 150. Woohoo! Fortunately, I live in Quebec, and instead of celebrating Canada's 150, Quebec decided to celebrate Montreal's 375th. Though I still think that Canada's 150 deserves a lot of celebration. So this yarn, which she picked up, let me just put this up. I mean, how much is this? All of my colors. It is the Sable Island colorway for Nova Scotia. So it has some browns and blacks and cream gray and this gorgeous blue color. I have a bunch of other that I shipped to my house in Montreal, though this is the colors that I brought home with me. And it's a single ply merino that I think is, it's gorgeous. And what an awesome way to pay homage to our beautiful country than to dye up some amazing yarns like this. You ready to see a horrible, horrible skein twist? That's actually not that bad. There we go. Nova Scotia colorway. Quite proud of that myself. There we go. Okay, other goodies. I'm sure I have more that I'm just not thinking about. Future projects. So here I want to talk about things that I have planned to cast on, just haven't gotten around to it. So one of those things is with this yarn by Fleece Artist. I'm pretty sure Fleece Artist and Handmaiden have come together. I think that is the case. But out of this yarn, I want to knit myself a pair of mittens because I did not pack hats, mittens. I do have scarves because shawls are everywhere. But hats, mittens, hats and mittens, I did not pack. And it is getting very chilly on my poor little puds. So I'm going to make a pair out of here. I have two patterns that I'm kind of thinking in mind. One is the Pay It Forward mittens. I found those on Ravelry. My mom has made a bunch of the pairs and she really, really likes the pattern. And then there's another one that's not really coming to mind right now. So give me 1 minute and I'll find it. My dad's in the window and he's making fun of me. So one of the things that I'm excited about this, though I haven't ever made mittens out of 100% merino. So, but again, it's not really a hard wearing item like socks would be. So I think I'll be okay. Again, the two patterns that I was thinking about doing are the Pay It Forward mittens, which are by, if my Ravelry account wants to load, pretty sure they're by Jody Locatelli. I've never made one of her patterns before, so I'm really, really, really excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The other pattern that I was thinking about, and if I can figure out how to put images up here, I'll put images up there. If not, I'll link it down on the bottom, are the Simple Autumn mittens by Halidora J. Again, very kind of simple, lightweight, little bit of lace, just something to take the chill off when I'm riding my bicycle back and forth from the helicopter pad to my house. That is a sentence and a reality here, taking my bike from the helicopter. Other projects that I have in mind is another Jody Locatelli pattern, and this is the, how would I say this? Jujoy? Shawl. It is gorgeous. I absolutely adore it. It was actually in one of her publications, a book that she came out with. And I love the very simple lace work, the stripes, maybe a little bit because I love the Find Your Fade so much, but I'm really enjoying kind of how the three colors melt together. And this is going to be a co-op project with my mom. I'm pretty sure I'm going to knit it out of Drops Alpaca, which is a sport weight, even though this calls for a fingering weight, though I'm pretty sure I can figure it out. I'm thinking of doing it in maybe a blue, cream, beige, gray color, because I think that would go with most of my outerwear that I have right now. Yeah. Future projects. I am so excited to finally have the yarn for this project. It is probably one of my favorite things that I have seen to date. And this is the Fireside Pullover by Jean Richmond. Who does not want to wear this for the rest of their life and just be completely cozy and comfy? And look at that shawl collar. Perfection. So of course, I'm making that out of this yarn. I adore it. I think it is beautiful. It is such an amazing... I'm going to make this for $50. Like, when is that ever possible? Can you buy a full pure wool sweater for $50? She has made hers in beige, and I just realized I'm making mine in vanilla, and I do like the beige colorway better. We shall see. Maybe I do need a beige sweater. Can't believe I'm changing my mind right now on this thing. Or that I didn't figure this out beforehand. Anyway, I'm sure I will have a vanilla sweater or a beige sweater. Or maybe I will just make it in this. But we'll see. So many yarn, so little time. I'd like to do a section called Pattern Envy, which I tell you about some new up-and-coming patterns that I've seen on Ravelry. I'm hoping I can do that without copyright laws. I don't think it should be a problem. But I didn't write anything down to talk to you about today, so maybe that'll be a section to come up in another one. Though I do have something called September Favorites. This is kind of an homage to my makeup videos that I love to watch all the time. If there are two things that I am doing while I am at home, I am either watching reruns of Gilmore Girls, because it is fall, and it is coffee season, and it's sweater season, and it's just Gilmore Girls season. If not, I'm watching YouTube videos of either knitting podcasts or makeup podcasts. There are a few makeup tutorials and people that I just love listening to. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about will be my weekly favorites, will be my September favorites, maybe some disappointing products. I'm not just talking about makeup, I'm talking about everything. Food, yarn, notions, fabric, a little bit of everything. My dad's making signs like this to me at the window, being like, we have to go for lunch. So I will come back and talk to you guys about some of my September favorites after I go and eat a delicious bowl of turkey neck soup at my grandparents' house. Happy knitting, everyone. I'm back. My mom is just sending me photos of the knitting that she's doing, and I actually am wearing them. Let's see if I can do this. I am wearing what I call my guacamole socks. Actually, they're rolled down for my boots. And my mom's knitting me a pair in a yellow and pink colorway, but the same one, so she just sent me a photo of them, and they look awesome. What was I talking about before I left? I probably should have watched that. Finished objects. Let's do it. Yes, I have finished an object. And I don't mean to sound that with the most, fainting doom, but this object that I finished was a big one. Yes, my friends, I am talking about the Found Your Fade. Let's move that. Ah! It's done! It's done, it's done, it's done, it's done, it's done! This is probably the biggest thing I've ever knit before in my life. It was a project. So it's not blocked. Disclosure, warning. Let's do this the right way. It's not blocked. I have yet to block it. I have yet to find somebody who has blocking mats / those foam play mats that I can block this on. So until I do that, it will maintain in this form. I have honestly been wearing this every day. It is amazing. It took me 8 months to knit it, but I love it so much I may make it another color. So this is where it starts. It goes here, and then this color, and then I'm trying to do this so I can see it too. And then this one, and there's in all of its glory. I can actually see through the lace. This is amazing. And then it keeps on going, and going, and going. And it's done. Yeah, I adore it. I started knitting this in March. When I was here, I came home for a trip, and I figured I was going to do a lot of knitting, so this is what I packed, and I didn't knit at all. I knit this much when I was home, and then the rest has happened since then. It is so warm, it's perfect for being around. I wear it on my bicycle because I can do a whole bunch of wraps. I love it. I knit it with the Knit Pick palette yarn in their By the Sea color fade, I believe. It's about 20, maybe 21 colors. And I picked some of my favorite solids out of that. There are some kind of a bit of like a variegated heathered colors, but I wanted something that was going to be solids instead of the speckles. And I went from green to gray because it kind of was the most similar ones, I think, that would have faded into one another. I love it with the solids. I think it's a lot of fun. That being said, I do really want to reknit it with speckles, just because I feel like that's kind of how the pattern was intended to be done. Yes, you know, you do get kind of a faded effect with having similar colors that work into one another, though it still has that color blocking effect to it. I think knitting it in a speckled yarn would really help with the color melting portions, which are here, there. And yeah, I love it. My tension changed a lot while I was knitting it. I will say that. I started knitting this, I believe, in the suggested needle size, maybe even up. I have to go back through my notes. I think I knit this in a 3.5, 3.75. And then I saw the one that was knit at Especially Co. and that Melissa knitted in a 4mm. And I was like, that's it. I'm switching to a 4. And I knit the rest of it in a 4. And I love it in a 4 way more. You can see the lace work here is a lot thicker. It's just more squishier. It's less dense. I wasn't very, very happy. I actually believe when I knit it with a 3.75 that I did increase my needle size quite a bit from what the pattern calls for. I have no idea how they knit it with the suggested. It must be for very, very loose knitters. So I would suggest, if this is your first time knitting it, to definitely scale up on your needle choice for sure. And it is a big project. It's a lot of fun. It's a very easy project to memorize. Once you kind of have the first few sections done, you can continue. There is a point here, kind of when the tip happens, that it changes a little bit. I did have to frog that section because I didn't read the pattern, and I continued knitting for a lot more than what you were supposed to. But I love it. I absolutely love it. It matches my eyes, if I can say that. And yeah, find your fade, guys. It's off the needles. Oh, I remember what we were supposed to talk about. September favorites. So September favorites, I have quite a few of them, and I'm very excited to show them once I have this new. I don't really know how I'm gonna wear this. Let's do it like this for today. September favorites. I am very stoked to be bringing you these, and I do have to run and grab something. I'm back. So what do we have for September favorites? There's a little bit of knitting, a little bit of self-making, a little bit of projects, a little bit of everything. First off the bat, this book. So this is Cole Magazine. This is their 3rd edition. I have the 2nd one. I'm desperately hunting for the 1st one. If you have it and you want to get rid of it, call me. This is a magazine, if I could say, basically of my life. It has a little bit of crochet, a little bit of knitting, a little bit of hooking, a little bit of macrame, needlework, everything in the most beautifully designed, organized, curated magazine I've ever seen before in my life. The photos are all of places that I want to live in. It has recipes, it has patterns, it has how-tos, it has ads for all the beautiful knitting stores that you want to be able to run off to, but you can't because you live on a deserted island in the middle of the Gulf of St. Lawrence. It's amazing. I would highly recommend checking it out. if you are a lover of all crafts like I am, Cole Magazine, it's a winner. The next favorite I have is actually some little knitting bags. So this is a knitting bag that I designed. I have a few little things. So it used to be my preferred sock sack for traveling, though in the last few days, it has, with all of my moving, it has become the holder of all of my cables and cords and chargers. But the good thing about it is that it all lives in here, and that with all of my running back and forth, all I do is I drop this into my bag and it's done and it's over with, and they're all happily together. I love pouches. I love bags. I love everything, as you'll see by my next favorite. And I'm sure you've heard these talked about a lot. But these are the Jezebel Bee pouches. So I have her largest knitting case right here with my little Espastrico button. I have her circular needle case, which is holding all of my special projects right here. And I have her small, I guess it's the scissor case, which is living upstairs right now. So I'm not going to bring it down. Her patterns, her design, the kind of very bento box Japanese folding techniques are amazing. These pouches are worth every single penny. You can buy them from her online store through Etsy, or you can also buy them at Espastrico, where I've picked up all of these things. If you haven't figured out already, Espastrico is my local yarn shop. It was my local yarn shop, I guess you could say, before I moved from Montreal. But it is my go-to for all things knitting. They have the best shipping to my little area, and I appreciate that very, very much. I love shopping there. But about these pouches, I want one for everything. This is kind of my, circular. If I could have one of these for my makeup brushes, it would be right away. This pouch, which is kind of my travel motions pouch that I've been using, it has everything. If you can see it, I can tip it up nearly horizontal and nothing falls out. 2 pairs of scissors, a little tiny thing with all of my stitch markers, measuring tape. This is actually a stitch holder that I've clipped on my USB key with all of my patterns, a row counter, and 2 stop holders. Just realized. Whatever. In there, a little gauge ruler from, of course, my favorite Espastrico, scissors, spare cords, everything. A crochet hook for picking up stitches, a trusty double-pointed needle because you never know when you're going to need one, a hair tie. It's the best. It lays flat, it stays open. Once it's folded together, nothing falls out. It has a very wide interior, so you're not running around a lot. It's the best. One thing not knitting related, this is the Lush Fruit Lip Gloss from Bite Beauty in their current color. This is stunning, stunning, stunning. I actually probably should put it on my lips because that's not what I'm wearing right now. For very dry climates like what I am living in right now, this is amazing. It's so thick. And it stays on the lips. Talking while I'm putting this on was really difficult. I love it. It has a beautiful little doe foot applicator. It smells delicious. Has a nice kind of new neutral color that you can layer on top of a lot. But the best thing about Bite is that all of their products are made with food grade ingredients, which means, not that I would, but if you wanted to literally scoop this out and eat it, you can. It's 100% safe for the body, and it's 99% organic. I love, love, love this stuff. Worst comes to worst. The best thing about it, it's Canadian. They're made in Toronto by a friend of a friend, so I'm very, very happy. This is my little trio that I like, Bite Beauty and their lip mirror. Love it. Is that it? Oh, the best month is coming up. like now. I'm saying September favorites, but we're technically in October. And the best thing about October, it's kind of my second favorite time of the year because it is culturally acceptable. It is societally acceptable to buy Halloween candy just to eat for yourself. Love it. All of it. The other thing that I really wanted to show with you guys that I'm very happy to have made this and put this together. I think my lighting's changed since I've came back from lunch, but it will be very short. I made a weaving loom with my dad. I'm here in Harrington. I couldn't bring a lot of my supplies back with me. In Montreal, I have a ram loom as well as a few small kind of like tabletop tapestry looms. But I really wanted something a little bit bigger so that I could make some projects while I'm home. And depending on how everything turns out, I may potentially sell a few of these. So please, if you are watching this, let me know what you think about it because I would love to hear your feedback about the design and how it's made and some little things like that. So this is what we were up to. So this is the loom that my dad and I made. It is a tapestry loom. We put some little wooden dowels. It is 16 by 16 and it's made of, I have a rough spot right there that has to be sanded down. It's made out of birch, I believe, which is a hardwood. It's very heavy. I think probably if I was making these to sell, I would do something a little bit more lightweight. And then I made a just a little tapestry needle to go with it. The fun thing about this is that because the hole is the same size, or the drill bit that I use to make the hole is the same size, it kind of clips on the top there for safe and easy handling. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm so happy to have made something like this. It took us an afternoon. A lot of it was trial and error. Another thing that was such an oversight on my part, I bought a quarter inch 36-inch long dowel, and I cut them into little inch long pieces. And then I had to sand down and round all the edges. Way too time consuming. If you are thinking about making one, I would suggest just buying, they have fluted dowel pins, dowel rods, something like that, wooden pins. That would be so much easier when doing a project like this, rather than time consuming sawing by hand 44 dowel rods and sanding them. But it was a labor of love, and I have this. So this means that there may be some weaving projects coming up in further episodes. Yes, I think that's it. If there is anything that you would like to see in future podcasts, if there's anything that you don't want to see in future podcasts, if you were tired of me saying at the beginning of every thought or sentence, let me know. If you like this and you want to see more of them, hit subscribe, like the video, let me know. There's a huge knitting community out there, and I am just starting to get my feet wet into this lovely, lovely, lovely space that I'm very proud and honored to be a part of. And I can't wait to hear back from all of you guys. So subscribe, like buttons, I'm sure they're down here in one of the corners somewhere. And thanks a lot. Bye. Oh, my dad's home for lunch.
Hey, sweetheart.
I'm podcasting.